Does your weight seem to be fluctuating randomly? According to the American Heart Association, AHA metabolic syndrome is when you have 3 or more of the following conditions. Midsection obesity, with a waistline more than 35 inches for women and 40 inches for men. Blood pressure over 130, over 85 millimeters of mercury triglyceride level, over 150 milligrams per deciliter. High-density lipoprotein levels, HDL. The good cholesterol, below 50 milligrams per deciliter for women and 40 inches for men. 40 milligrams per deciliter for men fasting blood glucose levels greater than 100 milligrams per deciliter. It's really smart to keep an eye on your numbers, things like your blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. Why? Because they can give you a big heads up about whether you might have metabolic syndrome. This condition affects about 1 in 3 adults in the U.S. and basically means you have a cluster of risk factors that ramp up your chances of heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. If you have at least 3 of these, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, high blood triglycerides, low good HDL cholesterol, or a larger waistline, you could be dealing with metabolic syndrome. Getting this diagnosis can feel pretty unsettling, and you're probably eager to get things under control and even reverse it. Lifestyle changes are incredibly powerful and make a real difference. But what about supplements? While some might seem appealing, certain ones can actually be ineffective or even harmful. Here's what dietitians suggest you might want to steer clear of. Supplements to think twice about chromium. A closer look. Chromium is an essential mineral that our bodies need in tiny amounts for various processes, including how we use insulin. Interestingly, some research has hinted at a connection between this mineral and metabolic syndrome. For example, one study observed that young adults who had lower levels of chromium in their toenails were actually more likely to develop metabolic syndrome in the decades that followed. This finding sparked a lot of curiosity about chromium's role in our health. Because metabolic syndrome often involves insulin resistance, where your body's cells don't respond effectively to insulin, there's been a lot of buzz about whether chromium supplements could help. The idea is that if chromium plays a role in insulin function, perhaps supplementing it could improve how sensitive your body is to insulin. However, as Michelle Ruthenstein, MS, RD, CDCES, a preventive cardiology dietitian, wisely points out, while some studies suggest chromium picolinate, a common form of chromium supplement, may improve insulin sensitivity, evidence is inconclusive and inconsistent. This means that while some smaller studies have shown a positive effect, others haven't, and the overall picture isn't clear enough to draw firm conclusions. In fact, many smaller studies haven't really shown much impact from chromium supplementation on key indicators like A1C levels, which reflect average blood sugar, blood fats, or even body weight. Beyond the question of effectiveness, there are also some health concerns to be aware of. Ruthenstein cautions that taking too much chromium can lead to negative side effects such as kidney damage and GI issues. This is a significant consideration, as nobody wants to trade one health concern for another. Furthermore, because we're still not entirely sure how chromium supplements truly affect blood sugar, there's a potential for them to interfere with insulin and other diabetes medications you might be taking. This interaction could lead to unpredictable changes in blood sugar levels, which can be dangerous for someone managing diabetes or prediabetes. It's why healthcare professionals often advise caution and a thorough discussion before adding chromium to your supplement regimen, especially if you're already on medication for blood sugar control. Niacin, a double-edged sword for metabolic health. Niacin, also widely known as vitamin B3, is a crucial nutrient that plays a vital role in our body's chemistry. It's essential for converting the food we eat into energy, and it also contributes to the creation of cholesterol and fatty acids. Given its involvement in these metabolic processes, some people have naturally wondered if niacin supplements could be a beneficial tool for those dealing with metabolic syndrome. it's really important to proceed with caution. Research has uncovered some unexpected and concerning findings, particularly for individuals who are already taking statin drugs to manage their cholesterol. While statins are highly effective at lowering bad LDL cholesterol, adding a niacin supplement in certain scenarios has shown a surprising effect. It can cause HDL, often referred to as the good cholesterol, to skyrocket too much. This might sound counterintuitive, as generally, higher HDL levels are seen as a positive for heart health. However, in these specific cases, this extreme rise in HDL paradoxically appeared to increase the risk of atherosclerosis, which is the dangerous buildup of plaque in the arteries. This suggests that simply raising HDL isn't always beneficial, and the quality or type of HDL might matter more than just the quantity, especially when combined with other medications. The precise mechanisms behind this unexpected outcome are complex and still being investigated. But the key takeaway is that when used alongside statins, high-dose niacin supplements haven't consistently shown the cardiovascular benefits that were initially hoped for, and in some studies have even raised concerns about adverse effects like increased stroke risk. Therefore, while niacin is undoubtedly an essential vitamin, relying on high-dose supplements, particularly in the context of metabolic syndrome and statin use, requires careful consideration and a thorough discussion with your healthcare provider. They can help you weigh the potential risks against any unproven benefits and guide you towards safer. Green tea. Sipping on up to 6 to 8 cups of green tea a day is generally safe. But when it comes to green tea supplements, that's a different story with different risks. While these supplements are often marketed for metabolic health and weight loss, studies about their benefits are pretty inconclusive. What's more, green tea supplements can interact with various medications used for heart conditions, including common ones like rosuvastatin, Crestor, Nadolol, Corgard, and warfarin, Jantoven, Coumadin. The National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health also notes that some people have experienced rare liver damage from green tea extract supplements marketed for weight loss. Bitter melon. Bitter melon is a fruit that has shown some promising signs in research, with suggestions that it might contain a nutrient that acts a bit like insulin, potentially helping with blood sugar control. Cooking with bitter melon as part of a diabetes-friendly diet is absolutely fine, but when it comes to bitter melon supplements, the evidence is limited. We simply don't know enough about how effective it is for diabetes. Plus, there's uncertainty about its long-term safety. One study did find it helped lower blood sugars in people with type 2 diabetes over 12 weeks, though their A1C levels didn't change. And it seemed safe in that short term. Still, we need a lot more data before these supplements can be confidently recommended. Milk thistle. Milk thistle, also known as silymarin, is another supplement that's sometimes linked to helping with diabetes or high blood sugar. However, the truth is, there isn't enough high-quality research to back these claims. Registered dietitian nutritionist Lauren Mahesri, RDN, states plainly, there is simply no evidence on its effectiveness to treat metabolic syndrome or aid in liver health. Also, watch out if you have allergies to similar plants like ragweed, marigold, or daisy, as milk thistle can trigger allergic reactions. Instead of jumping to supplements as your first step for managing metabolic syndrome, focusing on lifestyle changes can make a huge difference. Rethink your diet. Building a well-rounded diet that's packed with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains is a fantastic way to support your metabolic health. Try to limit saturated fats, sodium, added sugars, and alcohol. As Ruthenstein suggests, focus on what foods you are adding to the diet versus removing, and encourage fiber-rich, well-balanced meals to help regulate blood sugar levels and improve cholesterol levels. Other powerful steps include regular physical activity, managing stress, quitting smoking, and getting enough sleep. Aim for about 150 minutes of moderate-intensity aerobic activity each week, and make sure you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Ruthenstein advises, Monitoring your cardiometabolic risk factors by going to regular physical checkups and checking your blood pressure at home can help you monitor your progress, make adjustments as needed, and tailor your plan to help manage metabolic syndrome. A registered dietitian can also be a great resource, helping you create an eating plan that fits your life, budget, and preferences. Metabolic syndrome does put you at a higher risk for heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. But by making proactive lifestyle changes, you can manage these risk factors and really boost your health. Supplements might seem like a quick fix, but that's often not the case. In fact, some can do more harm than good, or simply don't have enough research to prove they work. Always chat with a healthcare provider before you start any new supplement, especially if it's meant to help manage a condition like metabolic syndrome. Do you have any questions about specific lifestyle changes that might be helpful for you?